Am I the asshole for leaving a repairman a bad review for flirting with my wife? The air conditioner broke last week while I was out of town, and my wife had to call an emergency technician in the middle of the night. A company we'd used before without issues sent a guy over. He fixed the air conditioner, no problem, but once he left, I woke up to a million missed texts and calls from my wife, who was hysterical. Apparently, within minutes of showing up, he made comments about her body and other suggestive statements. She made it clear she wasn't interested without being outright rude because she didn't want him to get mad and leave without fixing the air conditioner. The tech kept trying to put moves on her, then after he fixed the AC, he didn't leave right away, trying to feed her some lines about how she seemed to be home alone and he could spend the night to make sure she was safe. Eventually, he realized he was driving down a dead end and left, but the whole thing just really freaked her out, having some guy in the house who didn't leave when asked and everything. I was pissed to hear about all this, and she was shaken up by the incident, so we left a review on the Google and Yelp pages saying what had happened. The company is pretty small, so the owner called me to apologize a couple of days later and said the tech had had a few drinks that night, not expecting to be called out to an emergency job, and that his sense of humor had clearly been misinterpreted by my wife. He asked me to take my review down because it called the tech out by first name, and apparently a review saying he was coming onto a female customer could cause some personal problems for the guy. The owner also reasoned that the business was an air conditioner repair business, not a bad side manner business, and that they did fix the air conditioner, so deserved a higher rating. I told them our review stands, and they basically said we were assholes for threatening the reputation of the business and personal reputation of the tech over a single misunderstanding. On the other hand, they did fix the air conditioner, and that's what we called them to do. On the other hand, I feel like this is relevant information for people considering hiring them, even if it was a one-time thing. Am I the asshole here? Let's have a look at the comments. Not the asshole. Maybe update the review to add that they apparently drove drunk to your house. I'm a woman and I would like to see this kind of review before I hire them. What if I live alone? I would be terrified to hire some creep. Not the asshole. Leave the review so other people can decide. Living alone as a woman, I would definitely want to see this. I cannot imagine the fear she experienced having a strange man in her house at night commenting on how she is all alone. The company's response also showed what kind of culture they foster there. Am I the asshole for not giving my brother and his wife any privacy? My brother lost his job along with all of his savings several months ago, and soon after he asked me if it would be okay if he, 28-year-old male, and his wife, 30-year-old female, stayed with me until they could afford their own place again. I hesitated at first considering I only have a one-bedroom apartment, but according to them, they had no other options, so of course I invited them over and bought a blow-up mattress for the living room. For the first month, things were manageable, although admittedly cramped. Then my brother told me that sleeping on the mattress was giving him back pains, so he asked if he could buy a small double bed for the living room. The living room is by far the biggest room I have, so I told him that would be fine as long as there was still room for my couch, TV and bookshelves. The living room is also connected to my kitchen in an open plan style, so I reminded my brother to leave walking space around the bed. It's now been 2+ months and things have gotten a lot worse. When they first moved in, I would still use the living room every day to unwind on the couch after work. Now, whenever I go in, there's a strange vibe like I'm intruding. My brother and his wife are often sitting in bed together. When I go in, I always knock and stare at me pointedly until I leave. Sometimes when I sit down, they will directly ask me for some alone time and say they would like the room to themselves. This came to a head yesterday when my sister-in-law messaged me with a timetable she'd made of when it would be a good time for me to use the living room. The timetable basically says that they will allow me into the room for an hour each evening plus 20 minutes around mealtimes. I basically shut her down instantly and told her there was no way I would be following the timetable since in the end it's my apartment. She sent me back a huge message with a dozen paragraphs about how my constant presence was ruining her marriage with my brother and they feel like they have no privacy. I tried to talk this over with my brother that night, but when I got home, neither my brother, sister-in-law, were talking to me. so he's clearly just as pissed. Today an Amazon parcel arrived for my brother with a lock for the living room door, which I told him there's absolutely no way I will allow him to install. My brother says I'm creepy for wanting constant access to where they sleep, and he's insisting on installing the lock anyway. Am I the asshole for not giving my brother and his wife their privacy? Let's have a look at the comments. Not the asshole. I would totally give them 2 weeks to vacate if they are going to be like this. It's too much. OP, look into your state's tenant-landlord laws. If they have been with you X amount of days, months, they may have legal rights depending on if you own or rent your place. You may be required to give them notice for a certain period of time. In my state, it is 7 days. Same, not the asshole. I'm betting they gaslight you and say you are selfish. You are not selfish for wanting your space back. You aren't asking them to continue to pay a dime when they aren't living there. You can use the timetable as a reason to say things are clearly not working out. Months is enough time for them to find footing to get into their own space, even if it's something small. They have no privacy because they are living in the living room of OP's 1-bedroom apartment, probably rent-free. Want privacy? Get your own place. Totally agree with you. Am I the asshole for sunbathing wearing only a thong? My best friend is mad at me and is telling me I'm the asshole for sunbathing in my pool in my backyard in just a thong. And if I don't stop, our friendship of 20 plus years is over. Some details. I live in the country on a large family farm with no close neighbors, and the closest neighbors are my brother and my parents. You can't see my pool or me sunbathing in it unless you come into my backyard. My BFF boyfriends works for my father's construction business, and they sometimes come to the farm to work in my dad's shop when they have to prefabricate stuff for jobs. Well, I've gotten in the habit of getting in my pool every afternoon around 4 PM. The joys of working from home and sunbathing until around 5 or 6. Well, her boyfriend came over unexpectedly one afternoon and caught me topless sunbathing. I immediately grabbed my top and put it on with my back turned. He obviously was ogling my breast though. Since then, every time he works at the shop, I see him driving by my backyard and my pool, which he doesn't have to do to leave and is actually out of the way when he's leaving for the day. And if I'm in the pool, he always stops, walks to my pool and interrupts my sunbathing. Even after I told him there's no reason to come up to my house unless he comes with my friends. I got upset about it and told my friend that her boyfriend is a pervert and that he's driving by my house trying to catch me in the pool topless. I also told her he was hitting on me and saying what a great figure and beautiful breasts I have. Her response is that I'm in the wrong and that I'm trying to entice him and that I shouldn't be sunbathing in just a thong. I just don't get it. I'm on my property alone and he's going out of his way to try to see me. So, am I wrong? Or is it okay for me to sunbathe in a thong in my pool in my backyard? I just feel like he's a creep and she should dump him. But I also don't want to risk losing my friendship with her. So, am I the asshole here? Let's have a look at the comments. Sounds like your friend doesn't want to admit her boyfriend is being pervy. It's easier to shift the blame to you. Tell your dad, omit the thong part, just say that ever since he found out you're sunbathing by the pool, he keeps stopping by and you've asked him not to anymore. Your dad will just assume you're in a bikini. This man won't admit to your dad you're topless because he would be admitting he's a perv. Not the asshole here. This is serious red flag behavior, and this man may actually be a physical danger to you. He's adamant that you're into him in spite of you asking him to leave several times, telling him not to come back, and going to your friend to try to make him stop. Definitely not the asshole. Tell your dad, call the cops, get a restraining order, get an overprotective pit bull, do everything you can to make him stay away. He's a stalker. He won't take no for an answer and keeps coming back. The friend is the asshole because she is buying what he's selling and blaming her too. She's jealous and judging her because she would rather keep the perv than the friend. I would dump her too, not the asshole.